Every single second of every day, whether you're awake or asleep, there's a ridiculously sophisticated army fighting on your behalf. It's this complex, perfectly coordinated defense system that, well, keeps you alive. So what happens when this army actually gets called into action? Let's go meet the soldiers. Just imagine it for a second. Some pathogen, a tiny virus or a bacterium, manages to slip past your outer defenses. What happens next? It's nothing short of a microscopic war, a full-on battle between this unseen invader and your body's internal army.
So here's our game plan. We're going to follow this entire military campaign from start to finish. We'll get to know the army, see the first responders charge into action, and then we'll call in the special forces. We'll watch them launch a coordinated attack, understand how memory helps win future wars, and finally, we'll take a look at what happens when this incredibly powerful army makes a tragic mistake.
All right, first things first. How does your internal army even know who to fight? How does it tell friend from foe? It all comes down to one single core principle.
Your immune system is absolutely brilliant at telling the difference between self, all your own cells, and non-self, any foreign invaders. These invaders carry things called antigens, and you can think of an antigen like the enemy's uniform. It's the dead giveaway that triggers an immediate alarm and gets the troops moving.
So, the second that alarm sounds, who arrives on the scene? That would be the first wave, the general infantry of your immune system. These are your first responders.
Let's meet the two main players here, neutrophils and macrophages. Think of neutrophils as the shock troops. They don't live very long, but they get there super fast and they fight hard to contain the threat. Macrophages, on the other hand, they're the bigger, long-lived veterans. They don't just fight, they also play a really crucial intelligence role.
And this is that key intelligence role. It's so cool. After a macrophage literally eats an enemy, it doesn't just destroy all the evidence. It takes the enemy's uniform, that antigen, and displays it on its own surface. It becomes what we call an antigen-presenting cell, or an APC. It's basically a scout holding up a flag saying, "Hey, over here, this is what the bad guy looks like."
Now, the main weapon these first responders use is a process called phagocytosis, which literally means cell eating. It's a clean and efficient takedown. First, chemical signals from the attacked area draw them in. Then the phagocyte latches onto the pathogen, completely engulfs it, and then it uses these powerful enzymes to just digest and destroy it. Problem solved?
So the first responders are amazing at handling a small skirmish. But to win the actual war, you've got to call in the special forces. These are the elite, highly trained lymphocytes of your adaptive immune system. And this special forces unit, it has two very distinct branches. On one side, you've got your B cells. Think of them like mobile weapons factories, just designed to churn out these incredibly specific projectiles called antibodies. And on the other side, you've got T cells. They're the command and control center, coordinating the entire battle and sometimes even assassinating compromised cells themselves.
Let's take a closer look at this T-cell squad because it's pretty impressive. You've got the T helper cells. They're the generals, releasing chemical messengers that act like battle orders for everyone else. Then you have the T killer cells. These are the assassins. They hunt down your own body cells that have been infected and, get this, they execute them by punching holes in their membranes. And finally, you have the T memory cells. They're the veterans who remember an enemy for years, sometimes for a lifetime.
Okay, so we've met our first responders and we've met our special forces. Now for the really cool part. Let's see how they all work together building this beautiful coordinated attack that clears an infection for good.
The special forces launch a two-pronged attack. The T cells lead the cell-mediated response, which is all about dealing with threats that are hiding inside your own cells. At the same time, the B cells lead the humoral response, releasing antibodies into your body fluids, like your blood, to neutralize any enemies that are just floating around out in the open. It all kicks off with that scout, the macrophage APC, holding up the enemy's uniform. A T helper cell, our general, with the exact right receptor for that uniform comes along and locks on. That's the moment of activation. The T helper cell now sounds the alarm, releasing a flood of chemical orders that rallies the entire army, including those T killer cell assassins. Okay, at the same time, for the humoral response, something absolutely incredible is happening. Your body has millions of different B cells floating around, and each one is capable of making a unique antibody. Clonal selection is the process of finding the one B cell out of millions that is a perfect match for this specific invader. It's literally like finding the one single key that can open the lock.
So once that one perfect B cell is found and activated, it's time to build an army, and fast. Through a process called clonal expansion, that single cell starts dividing again and again and again, creating thousands of identical clones. And these clones then specialize, or differentiate, for their upcoming missions.
This rapid expansion creates two critical types of cells. Most of the clones become plasma cells. These are the antibody factories working overtime, pumping out thousands of antibodies a second to fight the current infection. But a crucial few become memory cells. They're the veterans, the ones who will hang around for the long haul and remember this enemy, making sure that if it ever comes back, the response will be way faster and much, much stronger.
And that right there is the key. Your immune system doesn't just fight, it learns. It remembers. This memory is the secret to long-term immunity, and it's the very principle we've learned to exploit with one of modern medicine's greatest triumphs, vaccination.
A vaccine is basically a safe training exercise for your immune army. It's like a sparring partner. We introduce a harmless version of the enemy's uniform, the antigen. Your body sees it, thinks it's a real threat, and mounts a full-scale response, creating a huge population of memory cells. This way, your army gets to build its barracks and train its veterans without you ever having to fight a real dangerous war. It's brilliant.
But you might be wondering, why can't we just vaccinate against everything? Well, it turns out some enemies are masters of disguise. Cholera has way too many different uniforms. Malaria changes its uniform at different stages of its life cycle. And the flu virus? Oh, the flu virus is notorious for something called antigenic shift. It can completely change its uniform from one year to the next, meaning our veteran memory cells just don't recognize it anymore.
We've seen how powerful, how precise, and how intelligent this system is. But that immense power comes with a huge risk. What happens when the army makes a terrible mistake and starts attacking its own country? This is the tragedy of friendly fire. This is exactly what an autoimmune disease is. That fundamental rule of self versus non-self, the one rule the whole system is built on, it breaks down. The immune system wrongly flags some of your own healthy cells as enemies and launches a full-scale, devastating attack against them.
Let's just take myasthenia gravis as an example. In this case, the immune system targets the crucial receptors on your muscle fibers, the very spots that receive signals from nerves. The T cells make a mistake and flag them as foreign. The B cells then create antibodies that go and block those receptors. And the result? The lines of communication are cut. Your muscles can't get their orders, which leads to profound weakness. It's a truly tragic case of friendly fire.
So we're left with this incredible paradox, aren't we? We have an army inside us that is both our greatest protector and potentially a source of our own self-destruction. The ongoing challenge for science isn't just about fighting new enemies that pop up, but about learning how to be a better general for our own internal army. How do we boost it when we need it? And just as importantly, how do we calm it down when it goes too far? How do we truly master this incredible power within?